Welcome to another episode of An Inside Job, War and Addiction. This is the 50th episode of this, and I'm very happy, and I know these guys are happy in here, the staff, and they just back me up all the way, and without them, this thing wouldn't have happened. I mean, without their support, Jack was just... we were talking about the school thing, but hopefully we'll get into... Let's do the... No, we were on homeless. Mm-hmm. Okay, so 2 years. Yeah. You're on the street. Mm-hmm. You still with this guy?
Yes.
Tell me about being homeless.
Okay, so it first started,
Fitchburg?
Fitchburg, yeah, I was on the streets of Fitchburg. So I had my apartment. The person who owned the house was selling it, and the buyers didn't want me renting from them because I wasn't paying my rent. So they wanted to evict me, but I wasn't going to leave because I know that, and they were going to lose the sale of the house because I wasn't going to leave, and the eviction process is a long process.
I know that.
So the guy who owns the house, he said, how about this? I give you $1,500, you get out, and then I can sell my house. And I was like, okay. And instead of taking that $1,500 to go get a new apartment, I didn't care about getting a new apartment. All I wanted to do was get high. So I took all that money and I blew it all on heroin and crack and everything. And so that's how I ended up on the streets. At this time, I had a car. I had still had my car and I still had my license. So I was living in my car. And I would just park.
With him?
With him, yeah, on and off, because like I said, he would go in and out of jail and stuff. But yeah, so I was living in my car with him for a while, probably 7 or 8 months. And I would just park it around town, wherever. And then when it was summertime, and he was out of jail, he was with me at this time. He overdosed in my car on water.
Fatal?
Non-fatal. He didn't I called for help, and they came. They Narcaned him, and they revived him. But they had charged me with, I forget what the charges were. I think it was intent to drive on heroin or something, some weird charge, because they couldn't get me for an OUI. I was in the parking lot of Market Basket on Water Street. The car was off and everything, and so they couldn't charge me with OUI. The charges ended up getting dropped because of criminal police misconduct or whatever, because there's a thing called the Good Samaritan law. You're supposed to be able to call if someone overdoses, and
oh, yeah.
And
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you're not supposed to get in any trouble.
Right.
You could have warrants, whatever, and they can't do anything.
I didn't know that, with warrants.
Yeah, they can't search your name or anything. You're allowed to call and save someone's life without worrying about getting in trouble. So that happened, and I ended up losing my license.
Let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to go to jail?
Yeah, I went to jail.
How long?
Not long, 30 days. I was held without...
Framingham?
Yes, Framingham.
How'd you like that?
It was not fun. I was pregnant with my son,
Woo.
too, when I was there. Not a good time. So, yeah, and
Any other times?
No. Well, I got arrested a bunch of times,
Yeah.
and I would spend, the weekend, overnight, or whatever, but that was my first and only actual stay in prison.
Just took everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
It took your kids.
Yeah.
No, and I hear it again, and you do too. Mm-hmm. You hear it again and again and again. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to stay high just not to deal with where you were.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, then it was like a vicious cycle, because after I lost my license, I sold my car because I wanted the cash for it, and I knew the police... The Fitchburg police are, they know who the homeless people are. They know who we are. They would see me driving my car, and I would get my car impounded. So, like the smart drug addict I was, I just sold it. I forget who I even sold it to, but so then I was actually sleeping outside.
Ooh.
I was sleeping outside in homeless
Summer?
Summer and winter.
Homeless camps where?
All over.
Tracks.
Yeah, there was a couple different
Under
ones.
the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. There was like one where it was under this building. There was like a little crawl space underneath it. That was my favorite homeless camp because I actually had a mattress under there, and so I had a mattress, and then I found plywood, and we set up it was like a little bedroom in the middle of the woods and under this little abandoned crawl space thing. It was weird, but yeah, I spent the summer and winter outside. I remember walking to my homeless camp, the one with the mattress. It was the winter of 2014. There was a lot of snow. There was a lot of snow that year. I was walking up in snow past my knees to get to where I was going to sleep at night. And so, yeah, it was like a vicious cycle. It's like, if I'm going to be sleeping outside, I need to be high. How am I going to do this sober?
Yeah.
You know?
You never thought about going into our father's house?
You had to be
homeless?
sober.
Yeah, and that wasn't going to happen.
No, not an option. Not an option. I'd rather sleep outside and be high.
Yeah.
I know. Makes sense, right? Oh my God. So yeah, and I was getting in a lot of trouble and stuff. I was always getting arrested just for stupid things, shoplifting. I remember I got a shoplifting for stealing food. I stole food to actually eat too from Market Basket. I got arrested for that.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of stupid little things, shoplifting and, yeah. So yeah, I spent 2 years living like that, whether it was in my car or outside. Every once in a while, I would get like a motel room, and that would be a nice treat. But towards the end, it got to the point, like, even if I did have the money for the motel room, I didn't care. I had gotten so used to just like the way that I was living that I didn't care, and I would just sleep outside and spend all my money on drugs.
Did you know Duffy?
No.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Mm-mm.
He could write a book on homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
During the break, we were talking with Jack, and we were talking about, and myself, and you also, but my next door neighbor just telling me they just send him home. A kid comes in high in high school or middle school, everybody's vaping, and they just send them home. They know they're high. They know they've been drinking because they're doing it in there, and they send them home. And I believe that they have to grab these kids. They, my friend Dick up there talks about the velvet hammer. All right, doing it nicely, but the hammer's got to come down. If this is happening with a kid, then it has to be addressed. I was talking about the high school in Worcester where everybody's clean, or hopefully everybody's clean, and drug court. Unfortunately, what I found with drug court, because I've been down to Worcester a few times, and I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, they have to be grabbed. That's what I think.
I agree.
What do you think about weed for a kid?
Probably not the best idea.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Me either.
I started smoking weed at like a young age, and
yeah, but it was drinking and then blended in.
yeah.
I don't know if that answers your if we covered that thing, Jack. It's hard for me to remember stuff. Okay, so you're on the streets. How? So I was going to say, how were you existing? But stealing,
robbing people.
robbing.
And I would sell myself on this. You know, I would.
It's very brave of you to say that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I did what I did.
Yeah.
Not proud of it, but yeah, I did what I had to do. I didn't care. There was nothing I wouldn't do to get high. So yeah, I would get in a stranger's car and drive off with them and go do whatever they wanted to do, and then they drop me back off, and I would rob stores, houses, people, drug dealers. I didn't care.
Did you get into any bad situations with that, with the
Yeah.
drug dealers and stuff?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I got myself into some sticky situations. Yeah. So yeah, so that's what I did, and yeah, like I said, I did that for like 2 years, and then I got in trouble for actually one of my big like robberies that I did. That I was involved in. I got caught, and I got on probation for that, and that's kind of what got me into recovery this time.
Let me interrupt again. Were you up at the place in Clegon with the sheriffs in that program there?
No. It was out of air.
Oh.
It was out of air. Yeah, no, I wasn't on that drug court. I was on air, and because the robbery that I did was in air, and yeah, so I got caught up for that, and that's kind of what got me into AA this last time, was just to keep my probation officer off my back.
They were testing you.
Yeah, they were drug testing me 3 to 4 times a week. I was code red, and
3 or 4 times a week.
yeah, it was like three times
Yeah,
a week.
that can change a day.
Yeah,
having to
exactly.
go there, boom, boom.
Yeah,
boom,
I was
boom.
pretty frequently there, and
Are you with any guys?
I was still with that guy. That's who we did. That's who I did the B&E with, the breaking and entering with. I did it. It was me and him, and we both got caught for it. And so, yeah, I started going to meetings just because I had to, and even just going just because I had to, my life started getting better because I really stopped using. I feel like my first sobriety date was May 9th, 2015. That was...
Mine's May 6th.
That's not my sobriety date still, but that was my first one. And, I don't know, at this point too, I was just like sick and tired, you know what I mean? Like I was over it. After 2 years, I mean, it might not seem like...
2 years homeless?
2 years homeless, 2 years on the streets, 2 years of, just being a mess. I was tired, and so it was almost kind of a relief to be on this program. And so I stopped, and I ended up getting a job too. I had to get a job at McDonald's because that was the only place that would hire me. My open case was a felony.
Oh, they do
hire
felons.
They hire felons. So.
Well, that's good, huh?
Yeah, it is, because I couldn't. Well, so I can't be a CNA anymore just because of the.
You were a CNA?
I was a CNA, and I couldn't get a job, and I was trying, but I couldn't. They do background checks, and they actually look up on it and stuff, and so that was gone. And at that point I hadn't been one for a couple years, anyways. But so. I got the job at McDonald's, which was in Air, which was right up the street from probation too, which was nice. I could like go to the courthouse on my lunch breaks and take my drug tests and check in with my probation officer and then walk back to work and everything.
So you were at the Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my get well job.
Right.
And
right.
And so. I ended up working and saving money, and I got my license back.
How about your children at this point?
At this
Where
point, so I hadn't had my son yet. My daughter, I was luckily, when I lost custody of her, my parents took her, and they were always really good about letting me see her. And at this point, from being sober, they would let me see her a lot, you know, and some. I ended up getting like some unsupervised visits, which was nice. They would drop her off at the house that I was staying at. I was living in Shirley at the time, and they would drop her off, and she would stay for like a couple hours and then go home, and it was nice. It was nice being consistent in her life again.
Must have been tough in the beginning, though.
Yeah.
Or was it?
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Of course, it was really tough. And I ended up getting my license back, which was not easy, too, because of how I lost my license indefinitely. It wasn't for like a certain period of time. I had to go to like Worcester to a hearing officer and convince her to give me my license back, and it took me 3 times. She wouldn't give it back to me right away just because of this, you know, the situation, which I can understand.
I just have to look at the time. Okay.
And so I got my license back, and 2 days later, I relapsed after getting my license back.
You're working at McDonald's.
I'm working at McDonald's.
You're seeing your child. You got your license back, and you relapsed. Why?
I don't know. God, what? I think you know what? No, the boyfriend relapsed first. He relapsed, and we were living together at Shirley. And I came home one day, and he was smoking crack, and I was like, hey, that looks like a good idea, for whatever reason. So I got.
Interrupt again. Just like that. You just said, okay.
Yeah.
How long had you been sober?
That was in October, so from May to October.
A few months.
Yeah. So from May to October.
AA? You were going to AA?
I was going to AA. It wasn't a long relapse, though. I think it was like just a couple days. I had a sponsor. My sponsor knew right away that I was using, and she came and she helped me. And so I started over again. And I violated probation because I was on probation. I was getting high. And that was in October. And so I started over doing the same thing. I still had my job. I hadn't lost my job or anything. Still trying to do the right thing. I ended up relapsing again. Hold on. So and then I was pregnant too. I found out I was pregnant with my son. It was either December or January. I found out I was pregnant with my son. And then I relapsed again in February. So I was 3 months pregnant, and I think I was shooting crack is what I was doing. I was using crack intravenously. And
whoa.
Yeah. You can do that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you take either lemon juice or vinegar, and it breaks down the crack, and then you shoot it in your veins, and it's just.
It's a little tip for you.
In case you didn't. Fun facts of drug abuse. You can shoot crack. So yeah, that happened, and then, and that's when I went to jail. I violated. Yeah. I got in trouble. Actually, this time I was with the boyfriend, the father of my son, and we were at his apartment, and we got in a fight or whatever. He was beating the crap out of me, and the neighbors called the cops again. I mean, that was not an unusual situation. Right. He was trying to beat my stomach. He was trying to he was trying to hurt my son in my stomach. Jesus. And the cops came. He had warrants, so when the cops came and knocked on the door, he wouldn't answer them, and he was on top of me, trying to keep my mouth shut. But I was screaming. I would push him off me and then start screaming because I wanted them to come in because I thought that he was gonna hurt me and the baby, So the cops knocked the door down. It was so dramatic too. They knocked the door down, had guns in our faces, and was pointing the gun at me and everything too. I ended up getting arrested because the father of my son told the cops that I was the one starting it, that I, assaulted him first, blah, 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 whatever. So I got arrested for that. I got arrested for assault and battery. I was already on probation. I had already, violated for using, so I was held without bail while I was pregnant with my son. And
Did you say without bail?
yeah, I had no bail because they held me. And so that was February 3rd, 2016, and to this day, that's my sobriety date. That was the last time that I had gotten high. So yeah, I went to jail, and at this point too, I'm, consistent in my daughter's life, and I had to talk to my daughter on a phone that was attached to a cement wall in Framingham and tell her that I didn't know when I was going to see her again. And that was rough. That was rough. Because I didn't know when I was going to see her again. I was at the mercy of the judge, you know what I mean? I had a long suspended sentence hanging over my head because it was a B&E that I was on probation for. And luckily for me, when my next court date was, the judge was a female, and I think that she felt bad for me. My son's father was known to the courts. They knew that he wasn't a great guy. They knew that if they held me, they knew that if they gave me my suspended, that I would spend my whole pregnancy in prison and then some. And so I think she felt bad for me. She gave me my one last chance to get it together. And I got it together. And I got out the first day that I got out, it was a Thursday, and I went to the Thursday night meeting in Air, and from there I got really active in my recovery because...
When did you get away from him?
That was it. We've been...
You ever see him around?
Sometimes, yeah, I see him walking down the streets. I just saw him walking down the street the other day. Looking very sick,
Yeah.
He looked like homeless and all that.
Yeah.
So I got active in the recovery community locally, and started doing all the right things. I worked. I had my son in recovery. I gave birth to my.
Well, excuse me, but we have. It's almost time to wrap it up. So thanks a lot for coming in.
Of course.
Maybe next year we can finish up.
Yeah. Finish the
I'm
story.
back in September.
Okay.
And I'd love to have you on again.
Yeah, we can finish because there's still some. There's still some more.
endless. How do you survive now? How do you, life on life's terms? How do you do it?
With the help of a higher power.
Okay.
My friends, my family, my children, all that stuff. And yeah, just one day at a time, just for today. Some days are harder than others, but if I can just stay sober for today, then that's all
Life
that matters.
on life's terms.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, with that, we're going to wrap it up. 50th episode. And what a way to go out with you, man. Thank you for spilling your guts, and you did it. You did it immediately. So that's it. That's the 50th episode and 3 years of doing this. And I don't know. It's my life. It's my life now. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you.